Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed it and thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda, some bizarre energy drink and water in the fridge. Cheers, motherfuckers. How we doing today?
Good.
How's everybody feeling? Just mention people out there in the internet don't know this because the episodes keep going up consistently, but I've been out of town for like a week. This is my first episode back, and I'm feeling all the energy, all the positivity, and both of you are going to have to deal with this.
I'm glad.
Can you handle it?
Yeah, we're real low right now, so
all right,
you can take it.
This is some yin and yang shit right here. So I'm sitting here today with my friends Jared and Derick of Sometimes Nameless. Make some noise for the internet.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, internet.
So, for those of you out there, I assume we're here today to talk about like some Nameless stuff and things around that. I wasn't too sure. It was just like, hey, can we come on the show? I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're talking about.
I didn't even know I was coming on the show until like last week. Jared told me.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Drug him into it. Yeah.
So let's start with the some Nameless stuff, and then if we end up talking about bungee cords and things like that or whatever, something random, then we do.
Love bungee cords.
Bungee cords are sick.
Let's get there.
So some Nameless.
Yes.
What is it?
It's two guys pretending they know what they're doing, and we bring out of town bands. We host a lot of locals. It started
book
about
shows.
Yeah, we book shows.
Yeah.
Sorry, it started six years ago. We started putting on shows at the Fallout Shelter. Predominantly, one show a month is what we were aiming for, and we've kind of fallen out of doing that. Not falling out with, but we've fallen out of doing a monthly show at the Fallout Shelter and kind of branched out and doing more shows in the city, dealing with more touring bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
We've actually hosted one of your bands, Grey Walker, a few times.
Yeah. Have we? Sykes and a New Violence has never played a some Nameless.
No,
You've asked.
I've asked.
Has it worked
yeah,
out?
it just didn't pan out for us.
Apologies. It will happen.
Nah, that's all right. We're over it. We're moving on to touring bands now. I don't think we need you.
Yeah, it's been a figure it out as you go kind of thing with promotion.
Yeah.
You figure out what works for us,
Mm-hmm.
So when you started booking shows, you mentioned that was out in the Fallout Shelter. For those of you that don't know, that is in the Aliquippa, PA, underneath the bowling alley and Ricky D's Pizza.
Yeah.
Shout outs to all of that. Shout outs to the Dragon Puffs, one of my
Dragon
favorite
Puffs are
food
excellent.
items on the goddamn planet.
Yeah.
I'm just full of sound effects today. So I fucking love that place. I love the Fallout Shelter. And I think that the first time we played out there, I'm not too sure if it was a result of either of you. It would have been with Ascend the Fallen pre-Grey Walker.
Yeah, I was at that because it was a birthday party, I believe.
Yeah.
And I felt out of place because I felt like I was at someone else's private party, but it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah, and I've loved that place ever since. So booking shows, it was just like we want to bring more punk, rock, metal out to this area.
Shows out there had almost stopped because something happened with insurance that they weren't allowed to be. I don't know the whole.
Like at the venue.
Yeah, at the venue, and they weren't having shows anymore. And I'd been out there maybe 4 times with Jared. We saw Blitzkid there and a couple other local shows. And his band wanted to book a show there. He was in Curseborn at the time. And was that with Only Flesh that you were playing? Anyway, and I went out to that show with him, and it was a blast. There were a lot of people there. It was just a good time, and he told me that they weren't having shows anymore, so we looked into, getting in touch with the venue owner and trying to do it again, And they agreed that they wanted to start doing shows again, and once a month, we'd try to pull together a show. Sometimes the shows themselves didn't make sense on paper because we had a lot of cross genre, like a lot of genre mixing shows.
And there's not a lot of people that do that, as far as I find. Like, people are kind of resistant to it too. Bands, they tend to want to play with
bands that they
similar
sound
genres,
like, and that's it.
It seems to be opening up a lot more.
It is. That's because of us, because of what we've been doing.
Sure. Everybody
Absolutely.
thank these two fucking schmucks.
It was just us. Yeah.
No, I've been seeing a lot more mixed genre shows, especially over the course, I'd say, of like the past year or two, it's starting to become a much more common thing. I mean, like, I don't see it so much with Greywalker, but with Sykes and the New Violence, like, we're getting thrown on these wacky bills, and it's not like we're the only odd band out. It's like it's like, what is this lineup? But this is cool. I think it's just a matter of you get a bunch of people in a room that are like-minded and want to have a good time, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah, a lot of open-minded people will lead to a good show regardless of what the lineup itself looks like.
It makes so much sense because how many people just listen to one genre of music? Do you only listen to one genre?
Yeah, I only listen to ska. Yeah, I only listen to ska.
It's like most people like...
I don't even like either of your bands. I just like you.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been telling people on this show forever, like, if you want to have any minuscule amount of success in a local music scene, you don't have to be good. You just have to be nice, and you'll get asked to play shows.
It's true.
Over and over and over again. Just be nice.
Yeah, being a team player and part of something beyond yourself will definitely get your foot in the door in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Be nice and promote. That's another
just
thing.
being respectful, not being
a lot of bands don't actually do that.
Right?
Like when I approach bands, like I'm a promoter or I'm a talent booker or whatever, a lot of them just think that we do that all on our own. You know, our best shows are definitely the ones where the bands promote equally as us. Because if you're not trying, why do I have to like your band more than you like your band? Yeah. You know, I'm trying to have a good show for you, not for me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, as somebody that's been on both sides of this conversation, and, you know, Jared, maybe you can relate to this too. Derick, I don't know. You've ever played in any bands?
No. I mean, Someday Nameless started as a fake band.
Yeah. I do know that.
Yeah. And, but I mean, I play an instrument and I've played before audiences, not big audiences,
I got you.
Even really on purpose. But I've never been on the opposite side. I've never been a performer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so
that wasn't my own show.
I got you.
Yeah.
But Jared, God damn it, you could probably relate with me in terms of being on both sides of the fence from time to time, where it's like you understand what it's like as a band whenever, you know, you get asked to play a show and you're like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden you're being asked to do all these other things too for the show.
Right.
Like it could be kind of like, well, what the fuck?
Right.
But also it's like, okay, well, don't agree to take a show if you're not going to be willing to promote it.
Right. I mean, just say you're playing the show. You know what I mean? And
it's so easy. Like most of the time when you are dealing with bands that are like that, they've just never been on your side of the fence. They just don't get it.
Yeah, well, some people in bands seem to have the philosophy that it's strictly the promoter's job to promote and that they shouldn't take part in it at all. But that's, you know, not to me.
It depends on the level you're at. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you're playing the Fallout Shelter, you should probably try to help get some people in the door.
Especially if you're local to the Fallout Shelter.
Because if you're local, you're probably not local to Aliquippa.
Right.
Try to get fucking 5 people to drive out from somewhere. Right. It'll make all the difference in the world. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal.
And we found that our fests or our big events, like the half-covered Halloween shows, and those are the ones where people will drive out from far away because it's, you know, it's actually a big thing. But our monthly shows might not pull that well, you know, because it is a haul to get there from. This is the bridge and tunnel crowd, and they don't cross bridges and they don't go through tunnels, you know.
Yeah.
So being 30 miles out from the city, it's kind of rough sometimes, especially, you know, when we have a touring band coming through and we're trying to help them get to where they're going, and we can only offer them $30-$40 because we had 4 people through the door.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not taking anything from that. You know what I mean? Like, we're not making money from doing this. So,
and you have to find what works at the venue, like in the area that you're in.
Right.
Like for some reason, punk rock draws really well at the Fallout Shelter, and metal, not so much.
Not as
like
much.
it's noticeably a difference. I don't know if it's an area thing or I don't know.
Yeah. I think that there's a situation with people kind of just get comfortable with their tribes, I suppose you could say.
Right.
And, you know, it's really easy to get metal people to show up at the Moose.
Right.
That's not a problem.
Right.
And it's
I
like,
hate the Southside crowd though.
Yeah, I get it. But like, it's like,
it.
we a lot with Grey Walker, like a lot of our crowd are people that go down there or have like grown up down there and like they're familiar with it.
Right.
It's like we get asked to play shows at Gooskies and we never accept them. And it's just because it's like nobody that we know is going to want to go there. And I already know it. Let's just save everyone the grief.
I think you said it in one of your other podcasts. You said, I like to have a PA.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, outside of that, I mean, it's just like, that's a whole nother aspect. That's like in terms of performing, but in terms of like
interesting though, because like you said, people stick to their tribes, people stick to their hangouts.
Yeah,
they're what they're familiar with.
It's like we've been a band long enough where I know what works and what doesn't, and it's just
a trial and error thing, just like promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another reason why we like to do cross genres shows, because Plasmid, Grey Walker, we had you guys both on a show at the Fallout Shelter. And while there are similarities, two totally different types of bands. And the show was amazing. Who else was on that? We had Nervous Aggression, and we were supposed to have Riparian.
Yeah.
But something happened there.
And, you meet friends, you expand your tribe, you make your circle bigger.
Yeah.
You meet new people.
Yeah. It's like a thing where it's like, I think if we played it Gooskies, there would be like a good potential for us to like, it really would depend. Like it could be fucking hysterically awesome. Mm-hmm. Who I never know, but it's just like, I just don't know if it's a chance that we're ever going to take, unfortunately.
Right. But do you have instances like that where you're totally surprised? Like you're kind of not feeling a venue or feeling a lineup or a show, and then the show happens and it was just bonkers or like exceeded your expectation? Sure.
That's definitely, it's probably happened more with Sykes and the New Violence versus Grey Walker.
Yeah.
Just because with Sykes, the group of people is a lot more willing to take chances. So I think that's the other thing too, is like, you got to know your audience. You got to know the venue's gear, what their setup is like, but you also got to know your band.
Right.
And like nothing against anyone in Grey Walker, but none of them want to fucking be in Gooskies. None of them want to be in Gooskies. Right. That's the thing, which means they don't want to be there. So they're trying to promote, like, how are you going to get people to convince people to come out to a venue that you don't even want to be at?
Right.
Like, I don't care. I'll show up. Sykes has played at Gooskies. It wasn't great for us. It wasn't a great space for us, but I still had a good time. Like, I don't give a fuck when it comes to that. But it's also like, I want to make sure everybody else in the band is having a good time and enjoying this. Because again, we're not getting paid either.
Right.
So it's like, if we're fucking, taking one of our, like a chunk of our very limited time that we get, away from family or away from work or school in the week, to play music, we want to be in an environment that I think everybody's happy to be in.
Right.
And it's fun when you experiment and it's a success.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely happened with Sykes. Especially like we played a show with like some doom metal bands at Howlers.
Yeah.
And it was fucking sick. Like a lot of people came out to see us that I wasn't expecting. And there was just people there that I had no idea who they were, but they dug us and it was cool.
Yeah. Did you make sure to shake everyone you didn't know, like shake their hand? Because everyone that's brand new that comes to our shows, I like to introduce myself and like say, like, we put on shows all the time. And that's happening more and more. So I'm spending more and more time talking to people that I've never met before in my life.
I won't just walk up to anybody. I
do.
I'm always at the merch table. So if there's somebody around the merch table, I'll say hi. Yeah. Or if I happen to see somebody, like if I come into contact with somebody like coming off stage or something like that, but I won't just like walk around like a fucking politician.
Yes, I mean, I will kiss the babies. I don't care. I don't care.
The president of the Fallout Shelter.
President of the Fallout Shelter, I guess.
I mean, that makes more sense from your perspective, I would say. You know what I mean? It's like, won't they like, hey, like, I'm the promoter of this show. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
Versus me like, hey, I'm the guy that just played this show. Did you like it? How'd you think?
I need your acceptance and approval.
It's not the right.
I guess it's not the same thing.
You're like the don't take this the wrong way.
Oh, I will.
You're like the Olive Garden manager walking around. Just
how are we doing tonight?
Yeah. You're that
Can we
guy.
get you any more cheese?
Yes, you are that guy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll accept that. I'm fine. But I'd like to think it's a better restaurant.
I fucking love the Olive Garden.
I like the Olive Garden too. Everyone I know hates the Olive Garden.
That's It's because people take things too goddamn seriously.
It's not Italian, but it's delicious.
It's fine. It's supposed. It's
It is
not
delicious.
supposed
It's
to
not
be
supposed
like,
to be authentic Italian.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
It's supposed to be you go with your friends or family and get a lot of food for cheap and just have a laugh.
Yeah.
It's like Netflix Dracula that just came out.
I haven't seen it yet.
I've been seeing all these people who are just like, it's so cheesy, it's bad. I'm like, it's supposed to be. Why does everything have to be so serious now?
Right. Yeah. I don't know why.
Like as a social experiment, Derick gave me a tip bucket at the Fallout shelter because there's a tip bucket we use on occasion for touring bands, kind of walk around and pass it around. And he thought it'd be fun to see if I would do it. So he gave me the tip bucket because he knows I have some social anxieties, So he wanted to see how it would pan out. And I just kind of walked around with the tip bucket. Like, I was like, I eventually came up to him. I was like, I can't do this. This is the president's of the Fallout shelter's job, You gotta do it.
But I also have the same social anxieties when it comes to asking people,
Sure.
When it comes to just introducing myself, I'm fine with that. But our friend Doug, I don't know if you know PBR.
I know Doug.
You know Doug.
Yeah.
PBR Doug. He's just super outgoing and he wants to do everything to help the bands, probably more than we do. That guy puts a lot of effort into the shows he puts on. Shout out to Doug.
He's a good dancer, too.
He actually has a show coming up in March 8th with Some Kind of Nightmare, Mindless Chaos, and I think New 52 is on it, or Danvers. Danvers might not be on it.
I'm
anymore.
not 1,000% certain if this episode will be
out by then.
before then.
Okay.
But if it isn't,
Yeah.
check that out. If it was, you missed a really good show.
But an amazing show.
Yeah.
But Doug is always the guy where if he's in the house, I'm just like, hey, do you mind taking this round or putting it up, asking people? And he'll come back with $40. You know what I mean? Just one round, come back with $40. Be like, here we go. Like, because he's much more,
Yeah.
Socially outgoing
So
than we are.
This is an interesting place to go with this conversation.
Okay.
Talking about the social anxieties that people like us have, because I have them too. And it's outside of this environment here where I'm very outgoing and loud and yelly. Like if you run into me just like at a show or somewhere, I'm like, it's like I'm so awkward. I always feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing to somebody. I never know what to talk about. It's like, unless like we start talking about like audio plugins or like guitar pedals or something, then I could go off.
Oh,
but just
I totally relate. I'm comfortable when I'm in my element.
Yeah,
if
but
you're
like,
talking to me about like cats or martial arts or metal, like fuck yeah, you're my friend. I could talk to you.
But yeah, like that like how's it going? What's a new thing? I'm just like, I hate this.
Small talk, you're not into it.
Like, how do you I guess how do you deal with it, Jared? In terms of just you front bands, you hit me up to come on this show, so obviously you're able to get past it in some aspects, but there's other aspects where it's still there. I feel like we probably relate a lot on that.
Probably alcohol, good social crutch,
Sure,
That's not for me. Not at all.
yeah,
No. But for me, it's kind of like I set myself, I give myself a goal.
Yeah.
And my goal is, well, I want this show to be like this. And I push myself past any social anxiety I might have just to get, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, of course, you know what I mean, because you're goal driven, goal oriented. You're one of the hardest hustling dudes that I know, between this and two bands. And didn't you start something extra where you're listening to music constantly, listening to local bands?
Yeah, we're doing. Yeah,
What is it? You asked for it?
You asked for it.
You asked for it. Yeah. And that's just one more thing.
I'm also doing the Spice Rack.
The Spice Rack, yeah. And I mean, so
And I started a third band.
And getting
What's your
involved in
third
that
band?
many things
How
kind
have
of
I not
forces
heard of
you
this?
out of your comfort zone too when it comes to anxieties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's especially hard for Jared. I feel just from an outsider's perspective, getting him to step out of a comfort zone. But once he does it, he excels. I'm sorry. And then
That's okay.
he thrives, And a lot of times he just sees me egging at him, and that's not what it is. It's like, I got to push you a little bit.
Yeah, I think that I just like do so much to keep myself from distracted from thinking about
How much you don't want to do stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, just keep it going.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. Just keep it going. Just keep it rocking. Keep
Yeah.
it rolling.
Now, do you ever get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm kind of reaching past my means? Do you ever set a big goal?
Every day.
Getting out of bed is kind of hard sometimes. But no, I mean like sometimes we'll set up a show and be like, well, I have larger expectations for this. Let's make it a fest and let's do this and let's do this. And knowing that I might not be able to achieve those, but like getting there is kind of fun, but really hectic. Like,
Yeah.
you know, or having too many things on my plate. You're really good at multitasking, as where I need to be focused on the one thing, you know, like you
I
seem to have a lot of things on the burner at once, as where if I get too many, I shut down. I stop.
I mean,
pushing on them.
I think that, you know, I definitely shut down and stress out a lot. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do that doesn't get done. I mean, you only see the output.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're
Right. Yeah, we're not
like,
behind the
you're
scenes
getting
with you.
served the meal when
Right.
it's done. You're not in the kitchen. Like
where everyone's swearing at
it's
each other.
fucking
Yeah.
chaos in
Shit
the
is getting
kitchen.
dropped.
It's chaos
Yeah.
in the Sykes kitchen. Trust me, it never fucking there's always something on fire.
Yeah.
Probably multiple things on fire. People are always quitting on me. People aren't showing up. It's
Right.
drama back there. That
Right.
place is a nightmare. But I love the restaurant. I love my restaurant, if you will.
Right. You're the cook at the Olive Garden.
I feel
No,
like I'm the manager, the cook, the server. I'm everything. The fucking valet. God damn.
But at the same, like the public isn't seeing the mess.
Yeah.
So you're achieving exactly what you need to be achieving.
Yeah, I'm very, very. I really, really do my best to try not to make the mess public.
Right.
You know, I think that's never a good look, right?
No.
Like, I mean, it's happened. I've had my alcohol induced posts that I wake up to, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, delete.
Well, I was going to ask you to revisit some of them and let us, because if you have had those, I haven't seen them, you know? So,
I mean, it's only been maybe a few times. It's never been anything that bad. It's just, it's stuff that I wouldn't, it's just an energy that I wouldn't want to put out there. I wouldn't want that to be coming from me.
yeah.
When you were talking about setting goals, you should tell them about the Ska Fest. Like, did you reach your goals that you set for yourself for that?
last year our Ska Fest was a big success, and it almost didn't happen because No Effects was coming to town that same day, and we had our, you know, our event was
He was
out
heartbroken when it was announced the same day.
and mostly because I couldn't go see like my favorite 6 live bands. You know, I was upset because I couldn't go to that show. I had to go do stupid Ska Fest. But when it got pushed, it was like, oh, okay, cool. And then our ticket sales started climbing, and we reached all of our goals. You know, we had 3 national bands on it, and 3 locals, and we're gonna push this year to have like 7 or 8 bands on it.
And the enthusiasm seemed really contagious. Like people really seemed into what you were doing.
Yeah, once people caught on to it, and they're like, oh, really, ska? It's back. Yeah. And Jerry from the Burn Rides and Porno Tongue and SFX, like he was a big push for Ska Fest. He loved it. He helped us get the venue. Burn Rides played, and they were kind of like the big band for the show. Like people loved them. They were great. And we've got 2 shows coming up this year. They're going to be on Ska Fest this year, and Ska Fest will be on August 22nd at Spirit.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Did you do it at Spirit last year?
Yes. Yeah, it was good. We had like 300 some odd people through the door.
Awesome.
For a first year. And I don't know whether to thank Fat Mike for that because a lot of people that were going to the Punk and Drublic Fest, like they got all bummed, but then they bought tickets to our show, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that Punk and Drublic doesn't happen on August 22nd this year, because that would be a mad bummer. But at the same time, we made a little money so we can have bigger nationals, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome. The fest thing it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's so much work putting those together. I mean, like the 2 years that I helped with Brutal Beer Fest, it was just like, it was nonstop. Like you did
That's Smalls?
There was we did both
Yeah.
those at Smalls.
Yeah.
There was like the first year was at Spirit, but I wasn't part of the team at that point. We just Grey Walker just played.
Right.
But yeah, it's nonstop booking those. It's like it takes almost a whole year.
Yeah.
If you want to do it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm reaching out to bands now. I mean, I've had bands approaching me pretty much since the last one, but the only one we've confirmed so far is Burn Rides.
Cool.
So I'm going to talk it out with Jerry because he's really like the venue manager. Like he's pretty much takes care of everything on the ground level there with renting the venue and setting stuff up there. And we both tag team on the promotion aspect of it. And then I reach out to all the bands and, do the scheduling but Burn Ride so far, August 22nd, Spirit.
Cool. Hell yeah.
And we are going to try to, sorry.
No, go for it.
We're going to try to, I'm reaching out to local skate parks to do an event on May 16th, which is Lagwagon Day. I don't know if you're familiar. Lagwagon has a song called May 16th, and it was on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack.
Okay.
So that day has been dubbed Lagwagon Day.
Okay.
And
All
we
right.
want to have a
I see
show
where
at a
this is-
skate park,
this is all
and
going.
we want some of the songs that were featured on the soundtrack to be played at the show. Probably get 4 or 5 bands. It's looking like I'm going to reach out to Switch and Signal or Pitcher Park. But I think more would be involved with Pitcher Park having to bring in a stage and do all that, as where Switch and Signal is indoors. And
Yeah,
we
it's
can
to contain space.
Yeah, it's a contained space. So
I think that's an awesome idea.
it is.
I love that.
Because this is the first year that it, I think it's been 6 years since May 16th happened on a Saturday for us to do like an outdoor or, just a cool festival. And what else do we have coming up? We got a lot of stuff coming
Derick hates the sound of his own voice.
I really do.
But I like it. I think it's,
You soothing?
yeah, it's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I really do hate the sound of my own voice, but I talk so much. Go on. No, we've got our half covered Halloween, because I think too many shows in and around Halloween focus too much on the cover aspect. And we wanted to have bands feature their actual music as well at these shows.
Sure.
So it's 20 minutes of original stuff, 20 minutes of covers. And that show just kind of like blows up every year.
Yeah, as far as like Fallout Shelter shows, that's our best attended, rowdiest, largest show every year. Half covered Halloween. It's great. Yeah.
So of course we had to expand on it and do our halfway to half covered Halloween show every April. This year it's going to be on May 1st. We actually have Plasmid on our next one playing as the Dead Kennedys.
Okay, I saw that.
It's going to be bonkers. It's going to be really good. And White Thrash is Guar.
The Filthy Lowdown jukebox.
Oh yeah, Filthy Lowdown
gonna
is doing
be
a
great.
rap jukebox.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, I'm just like, oh man, there's so many songs I want to hear them play. Can you do this? We're like, I'll ask the boys. Can you do this? I'll ask the boys. Leave me alone. We know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I like those shows that I know are going to be super fun and well attended. Like I announce them and then it's like autopilot, because everybody gets themselves excited about it. And I don't have to we don't have to push those shows as much because we know they're going to be good no matter what,
Yeah.
even if they're ill attended, like what's the word I'm looking for? Poorly attended. We're still going to have a blast.
What do you... Were you going to say something? Okay, cool.
I thought you were going to say, what are you talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about?
This guy's talking, just going. Go ahead.
So what I was going to say is now, with years of experience promoting and working with bands, do you feel that you've been able to kind of suss out in advance like bands that are good ideas to work with or bad ideas to work with? Will you give like any band that hits you up a chance?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, I don't know about Jared, but when a band hits me up, I immediately try to find all their stuff that I can find, especially live stuff. And if they don't have live stuff, it's like, okay, well, they need to get out there. Even if I don't particularly like a band, I'll put them on a gig. And but that only happens 1 or 2 times. If you're not helping us to push the show, you're not bringing anyone, you're not thankful for what we are able to give you.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
or
kind
do
of
for
what
you.
I think that's kind of what sets us apart is we're pretty open to doing mixed genre shows. And we'll often put on new bands that are completely off the radar that no one's, they're just starting out just for new blood,
Yeah, I
something
think
new.
there's I think a very distinct thing that needs to be said. If you're not necessarily young in terms of age, but young in terms of band, like if you're a new band or a young band, and you're gonna have a hard time getting people to come out to the show just because you haven't played any shows yet.
Right.
You should give those people a chance.
Yeah.
But if they're dicks, then go to hell. The thing that like really irks me are like bands that have been bands for a long time that are still very hesitant to help promote, hesitant to be friendly at the gig. It seems like they don't even want to be there. You're not getting paid. Why are you still doing this?
Right. That half hour you're on stage must be like amazing.
Why do you drag all of your shit across town to show up late and leave early? And why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this still?
I think we've made a conscious effort to watch people. Like when we have bands playing first or second on a show and they can't hang out, because I think that's a pretty fair amount of bullshit to be on a show and not watch. Yeah, or at least be in the building,
it happens. I mean, it's one thing too where like
within reason. Like if someone's a dad or people have reasons they need to leave. But if we've had you on 4 shows and you're dipping before you see anyone play, and the only reason you're coming to talk to me is like, hey, I gotta leave early. You got some money for us?
Yeah.
We don't. No, that happens maybe once or twice, and then I don't want to fuck with you anymore.
Yeah.
And I'll be nice to you, but I probably won't have your band on another show.
Yeah.
I won't. If you come to me like, hey, I got these 4 bands, I'll be like, all right, I'll help you push it, but that's not my show. That's your show. I'll help you push it, but I'm not going to be involved in it.
Yeah. It really, really sucks whenever people are like that. It's just, but a lot of people just are really shitty at communicating. I don't even care. Like, if you like hit me up like, hey, like we want to be on this show, but one of our guys has to leave earlier. So just tell us.
That's something that you'll know beforehand.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, we'll put you on early.
Right.
But it's like one of those things where it's like you'll have like the whole lineup and everything set, and you'll send it to everybody, and then
this doesn't work for me.
You'll get that big blue thumbs up. Right. And then the day of the show, they don't fucking know anything. It's like
because they haven't read any.
Yeah, it's like I sent this to you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we've had that.
What?
Yeah.
Read the message.
Yeah. And we like to do our load-ins like an hour before doors, and it's been that way since we started. And everyone knows that if you're on first, you should probably be in the first. You're loading straight to stage. We've had so many bands be the last ones through the door, for load in, and they're the first ones to play. And then they end up pushing our time, and it's like, all right, that's eating into your back end of your show. Like, your half hour is now 15 minutes. Like, I'm sorry. This is just what it is. Like, when our headlining band is from, Natrona Heights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want to get them on stage and off stage and home. Like, you live down the street, man. Like, come on, help us out.
And like when I was talking about putting on multi-genre, like eclectic lineups, there's like pushback against that too. Like I've had bands hit me up and they're like, well, this band that you got on here is very different. They're not like us. And it's like, well, step out of your neighborhood,
Sure.
Meet new people.
Some of those are my favorite shows.
I mean, I could see some people were definitely like that. Like, my thought of this is like, it's like, I know people that only listen to Pantera. That's like all they listen
How
to.
sad.
That's like it, you know what I mean? And I know people that, only listen to rap, which is, I mean, that's fine. Like what you're into. So I think that if you're dealing with those people, there's nothing wrong with being like that. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's good that they're being vocal about it.
Right.
But I feel like if you're playing a show as a band, for me, I always think that it's awesome to be playing with bands that are in different styles, especially locally, because like if you're in death metal band A, you already have the limited same fan base as death metal bands B through Z.
Yeah.
Like, because
And if any of those bands are playing anytime you are.
Same, like, you know, the same fucking 30 people that might come out to shows. That's your fan base. But if you're death metal band A and then you're playing with somebody that's maybe more punk, all of a sudden it's like, shit, we might have our 30 people here plus their 30.
Right.
Now we're fucking cooking.
Right.
And then you throw like, oh, there's some weird angry rapper in here and he has his 15 friends that's different. Like, cool.
Yeah.
You know, we almost have a packed room now.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost seems like the people that are against our, you know, our mixed genre shows, it's not that they don't particularly like that kind of music. It's just they don't want to hang around with like people that are different than them. You know what I mean?
I could see
like
that.
That's what it seems more like to me. Not so much. It's not even a musical thing. Like it's like a click type. You know what I mean?
think that's the other problem too, where a lot of musicians that are playing shows sometimes forget that the show, it's not for you. It's for the crowd that's coming.
Right.
And you want the crowd to have the best time possible. And if you have a night of all death metal bands or a night of all punk bands, people are going to get exhausted. They're going to get bored.
It kind of blurs together sometimes.
Yeah, but if you fucking mix it up, like, you know, and like, shit, it's like, you know, Bill came out with Jeff. Bill's not really into punk rock, but, you know, he's Jeff's boy. And then there's this weird rap thing that's happening and he's like, oh shit, I like this. Now Bill and Jeff are both having a good time, and they're laughing and they're drinking, they're staying longer, so the bar's getting some more money. The bartender might be making a little bit extra. It's good vibes, good energy. So it's like thinking about something other than yourself. Like, okay, maybe it's weird that this band is playing, but it's more opportunity for more people to be there, more people to have a good time. And you know, I'm just a grumpy drummer. Let me shut the fuck up and just play my set.
That's
grumpy drummer. That is a thing. Yeah.
We put a show on years ago at the Fallout Shelter. It was extremely mixed up. Like on paper, it's like this might
Didn't
not
make
work.
sense.
You know,
was that the Super Fun Time?
No.
Like one of the first ones we did was Super Cross. It was Dysmorphia, Super Fun Time, Crisis in America.
That's not what I was going to say.
Okay, Nervous Aggression. But like that's a ska band, like a hardcore punk band. And then, you know, like Riot Girl and that was one of the best and it was one of the first, like that was one of the best shows.
The wildest.
That was a violent show. Yeah.
We had some crusty train hoppers at that show and causing some incidents.
They knocking some people's friends down and drummer jumped over his kit and I had to jump him. And I'm not a tough guy, you know, but I saw something happening. So I had to step in. I was like, what is happening? And this dude's all crusty with huge dreads and he's putting his head on mine. He's like, I know I'm getting bed bugs or lice and I mean, I didn't, by the way, but he needed to go. He was dirty, dressed up in Carhartts. Like,
the band actually stopped playing.
Yeah.
And the drummer started yelling at the guy that was roughing up his friend. And Derick kind of intervened and got in between, and I kind of was in the corner. I was like,
what's
I suppose
happening?
I should help.
You know, it's funny.
That's shenanigans.
That's the perfect example of the opposite of what I'm talking about. First, I was talking about bands that sometimes forget that the show isn't only about them. It's about the people having a good time at that space. What you're talking about are people that go to a show and think that they're the only fucking people in the room.
Yeah.
And they have like zero empathy or understanding of the people around them.
I think Doug brought those guys. Like he just found them. He found them next to some trains and brought them. He's like, we're going to a show. You guys want to come? Yeah. I think he did bring those guys because I remember him apologizing about that, you know, profusely. Like, I'm sorry I brought those guys. And I didn't even know them.
I remember the singer from one of the bands came up to me and she goes, be honest though. She goes, isn't it kind of fun when shit just gets completely out of control like that? And I was like, maybe, but not from our perspective when we're responsible for shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it depends on the it's fun if like everybody's on the same page and it's out of control.
Right.
It's not fun when somebody's like being hostile.
Yeah. Controlled chaos is much more fun.
Yeah.
When everybody's got the same vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. This sort of like this, like, you know, this sort of like pseudo anarchist, I'm a train hopper, I could do whatever the fuck I want, fuck this place sort of thing. It's like, man, like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard for us to like what we have, you know, with places like the Fallout Shelter and, you know, other venues, like they're hanging by a thread.
Right.
You know, it only takes,
one fuck up,
Bad incident.
one person, to like
blow it all.
get an ankle broken or something dumb.
Yeah.
That doesn't, and then it's fucking toast.
Yeah, it's like you have to draw the line at like blood on the floor and then wanting to pass out drugs and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not good. And like, it's like, I don't know, like people have this like romanticized idea of what like punk rock or heavy metal or just rock and roll shows are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if it was ever really like that.
I don't think it was. I mean, it's like people watch The Decline of Western Civilization and they think that's all punk rock is. Like being super violent.
Yeah.
And, like the people that still get off on like racism,
Sure,
they watch Fear or homophobia. They watch Fear on Decline of Western Civilization and they're like, that's what it's like. Never really realizing that like that's what those guys did to egg the crowd on. Like that's not who those people were entirely. It's so much of a stage persona for Lee Ving to say the things he's saying to like get people up on stage to punch him.
Yeah.
But you watch those and people are just beating the shit out of each other. And you hear all this like stuff about, oh man, punk rock used to be so tough. It's like, punk rock was never that for me. Like punk rock was going to a show and letting my frustrations out with people, not on people, Yeah. So when I see like crowd killing and shit now, like that's just vulgar to me. You know what I mean? Like it definitely doesn't have its place in my world. So I back away from all of it. You know?
I think it's, that kind of stuff. If that's your thing, enjoy.
Yeah.
It's just like, we're at a point now where we could see the after effects of what that sort of lifestyle does to people in the music industry.
Right.
Or in the world of like underground music and punk. And it's like all that like hyper violent, drug ridden bullshit. It's like nobody won from any of that.
No.
And like if you go back a lot, you'll get two people that are talking about like, oh, like the music was so much better and rawer. It's like, I don't know, a lot of those albums kind of suck.
Yeah, a lot of the production is awful.
It's not that great, but it's whatever. One man's trash is another's treasure. So
when I was talking about like putting on eclectic shows, it was a few years ago. We had a show. Like I was telling him on paper, it almost looked like it wouldn't work.
Yeah,
it was like Disobey, which are like a black metal band, and it was Only Flesh, and Dysmorphia, which are like a feminist punk band from Erie, and a stoner rock band, and Murder for Girls. So it was like a really weird mishmash, but everyone was all about it. Like the bands were like, fuck yeah, we're playing in front of new people, we're playing with people we don't know, and that kind of energy, it went on to the crowd. Like the crowd was really,
and it was a super positive response.
It was really good.
Yeah, if the bands are into it,
people
then
were vibing on
people
it.
will be into it. That's the other thing too. Like as a performer, understanding it sounds a little extreme to use the word responsibility, but I can't think of a better word to say this. But the responsibility that you have as an entertainer to entertain people.
Right.
People are coming out to watch you play. So if you and your band has some shitty fucking energy and not like this cool kind of like fuck you and punk attitude, because some people are into that. I'm just talking just like shitty, bland, like I don't want to be here energy. That's going to make people not want to be there.
Yeah, like positivity is contagious, the same as being negative is,
Yeah.
Yeah, the crowd will definitely match your energy that you put out there.
With venues in the city and with you, I mean, it seems like most of the stuff that Some Die Nameless has done has been at reasonably established places that have been doing shows for, a long time.
Yeah.
What is your take on like alternative venue spaces?
You mean like coffee shops or a tattoo part?
Sure, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Empty swimming pools, the big rock down by the river.
Potentially the skate park. Like going back.
Well, I like it. I like the idea because, again, people that frequent that might not frequent shows. So, case in point, when Black Forge first opened, the first Black Forge, and we had a couple shows there, like there were people that were just coming in for coffee that would hang out, for the show and watch. And I don't know if they've ever come to any other shows, but it's cool to, bring the independents to Black Forge with Bottle Rat and the Scratch and
Yeah.
bands that maybe wouldn't even play a coffee shop because they would think that the vibe was too chill or and it's a good spot. I liked it. I have yet to be at the new Black Forge. Have you played there yet?
Twice.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
It's an awesome room.
Is it?
Yeah. It's huge.
What's capacity? It is
Oh yeah, dude, you could probably fit like 200 people in there.
good.
It's gigantic.
I reached out to Ashley and she sent me to someone else, but they never responded about a show. I would imagine they had something else going on for the date or just we get lost in the shuffle a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very easy to reach out to people and get lost in the shuffle. But then you don't want to be like that hungry dog that's like, hey guys, can we please have a show here?
Sure.
I always have a backup venue every time. Like I have my main where I want this show to be when Jared normally takes the lead on the metal shows and I take the, ska, and we kind of tag team the punk shows really because reaching out to people. But
So the Venn diagram.
yeah, that's where we cross. It's ska, metal, punk.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be that hungry dog that's just like, please, we really want to have a show here.
Sure.
You're our only option. You're our only hope. And
And I think I take that back. I don't like the sound of Derick's voice either. More I listen to it. I don't know.
all right, I'm done. Sorry, bro.
Yeah. I love you, buddy.
That's so fucking funny. So something that I always like to ask bands
Yeah.
is about their favorite spots to eat after a gig.
Oh, we don't do that.
You don't do that.
Well, no, I used to have
Do
a
the two of
routine.
you ever hang out? Are you even friends?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've known this. We've been friends since like 99, 2000.
I feel like anytime I see one of you in public, the other one's like only a few footsteps away.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, that's the only time I get to leave the house is like, or not any time, but the only time that I'm out and about is for our shows or a show we are going to together.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been attached at the hip for like 20 years. So, I'm not going to talk anymore.
I made him self-conscious about his voice
super.
now. But no, that used to be my routine. Like, I used to go to Loving Hut, which is a vegan restaurant in in Robinson, which isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
But I used to go to that, and then I'd go to the Fallout Shelter. And it was sad because I slowly watched the turnouts diminish and I watched it die off. So it was exciting when we were able to start putting on shows there again and kind of reinvigorate it and make the place come alive again, because that was my hangout. That was my routine on Saturday night.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day when, 98, 99, we'd go to shows and then go to Denny's in Robinson because it was on the way home.
And you'd meet weirdos at night.
Yeah.
Like you met
We
wonderful
loved all the weirdos
night,
at Denny's. Like people super late at night in restaurants, we love them. But then Denny's went away. So then King's became the spot. And then King's went away and nobody wants to go to Eaton Park. So we just go home now, And
We're old now too.
Yeah.
So
we gotta go to bed. I mean, I could sleep nonstop all the time. But
we hang out at
really.
Walmart a lot after shows.
Yeah.
Hang out.
Jared has his own thing that he does regardless of what anyone in the car wants to do.
Get go before.
We hit get go. He'll eat a salad on bread, and then after the show we'll go to Walmart because dude loves Walmart, like any Walmart.
A lot of love for Walmart.
He'll start zoning at other people's Walmarts when he's not on the clock. He loves it. He really does.
This is probably a good time to get into the subject of other interests and hobbies outside of playing in bands, promoting shows, outside of Walmart and Get Go and things like that. Is there anything that the two of you are into?
I used to be really into, not so much now since there's been a big boom with The Walking Dead being so huge, horror conventions.
Yeah.
That was my thing, like traveling all over the country and getting to meet people. And,
But now they're all just Walking Dead conventions.
but no. With the influx of new people, The Walking Dead people were able to charge more for their autographs. So all like the little people that,
yeah.
like even, I don't want to say her name, but Linnea Quigley, like, $40 for an autograph.
Speaking of expensive autographs, did you see who's going to be at Steel City Con?
Yeah, Robert England. What is
Fuck.
it? Is it 150, 180?
It's probably going to be. It's going to be expensive.
See, I've met the guy like 17
Oh,
times.
nice. Yeah.
And and it was when his autograph was like $30-$40.
Yeah.
But the boom, because of the influx of new people that aren't particularly, horror movie fans, are just coming for the Walking Dead people and spending a shit ton of money. And yeah, so I don't really get to go to conventions anymore because I can't fucking afford it.
So you're a horror movie guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this guy is probably even more of a horror movie guy.
I'm a VHS guy.
Yeah. He'll take anything on VHS. So me, I'm horror on VHS is fine. I don't need to watch.
You guys gotta link up with Neon Brainiacs.
Do we know them?
They're another local podcast. They're good friends of me, and we have our little podcast hangouts together. But they do all like 80s horror movie reviews, and they always have guests on every episode.
Right on.
And I think that like basically it's like you will pick a movie, and then like you'll dissect that movie with them. You should hit them up. I think
to try to understand the underlying meanings of Mutilator.
It's just bullshitting and talking with people about horror.
Right on.
They're good people.
Yeah. And Jared is into VHS and Walmart.
VHS Star Trek. I fucking love Star Trek.
Yeah.
Star Trek on VHS.
Okay.
Well, look out.
What about Picard?
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never watched or got into Star Trek. I'm not like fuck Star Trek. I just never. It just seemed like a rabbit hole I never wanted to step into.
Like if you can find yourself a girl that will cosplay with you and watch like 8 or 9 hours of Star Trek and like just be with you and watch Star Trek, like you've made it in life. You know what I mean? Like that's where it's at.
Now, if you were to cosplay, who would you be?
Probably Data. I like Data.
Data?
Mm-hmm.
So,
But isn't he all about logic and you're very illogical?
Come on. He's being a dick now. It's because I made fun of his voice and not to make fun of me being illogical.
if I were to ever start, if I were to watch any one Star Trek series, what is yours? Are you like a TNG guy or a Deep Space guy?
You'd have to watch Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space,
like
okay.
the last 3 seasons of Deep Space Nine.
All right,
are just
that's
just epic.
That's
so
the
good.
one. All right,
like
cool.
people that may not typically like Star Trek.
Yeah.
The last 3 seasons of Deep Space Nine are where it's at.
See, I know enough about. I know that these are things. Like I've never seen any of it, but I know that they are things because I spend enough time around nerdy bullshit.
yeah.
But I just haven't like really watched any of it. I don't even think I've seen any of the movies.
See,
I may have seen Nemesis.
See, I'm that way with Doctor Who. Like I know nothing of Doctor Who, just in passing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
little things.
Yeah, I saw enough weirdos walking around at conventions in silly jackets. I was like, I'm never watching this show.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
kidding. I'm just kidding, but not really.
You've really upset your nerd contingent.
Yeah, that's my old man curmudgeon moment of the podcast right there.
I don't understand it.
These kids in their jackets. What is this, Doctor Who? Meanwhile, I'm fucking,
More
watching.
like Doctor Who cares.
Yeah. Me. Jesus
I got
Christ.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So film, cinema,
Yeah.
television. You're into this sort of things. You
Yeah.
should do like
We're into the very lazy aspects of.
You should do one of those things where like I've seen people that do they do the shows where they have like sometimes they'll have like DJs or like electronic musicians like score movies while the movie plays. You should
Right.
do like a punk rock version of that for some movie.
Yeah. Do Return of the Living Dead. That would be dope.
Hell yeah.
That would be really cool. Because the soundtrack's already built in. Like people can just play
Yo,
the soundtrack.
whoa. Okay, so no, I just thought. Okay, so like, hear me out. All right, so like, how long is Return of the Living Dead? It can't. It's
Probably 90 minutes.
Like 90, 100 minutes.
That's
long,
like a
right?
standard like horror
Dude,
movie runtime.
If you get like, if you split up the film into
3 acts, like a film.
3
should be.
acts,
Yeah.
and you get 3 bands and each take on a part of that and like play it and like have the band like do something that's like, I mean, you got to find 3 punk bands that are willing to do it, but I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you. Like as far as films, what are some of your favorite soundtracks to movies?
Soundtracks to movies? Are we talking scores or soundtracks?
Soundtracks, like actual songs. Yeah.
I mean, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is an excellent soundtrack.
Yeah.
Lost in Translation has an excellent soundtrack on the complete opposite side of the spectrum.
I don't know if I'm familiar enough with the film to actually know what was on the soundtrack. Like I feel like Postal Service would be on it.
No Postal Service. A lot of like Kevin Shields, My Bloody Valentine, Phoenix, Square Pusher.
Okay.
A lot of like shoegaze and indie rock and electronic stuff. It's a really good soundtrack though.
Right on.
Score wise, Akira's huge. Fifth Element had a fun score. It's like real cheesy, but in a fun way. Fuck, man, I'm trying to think.
Titanic in space. Right?
Titanic in space.
Titanic
sure.
in space.
More recently, It Follows had a really awesome soundtrack and score.
It was bad movie, but good soundtrack was the Night of the Demons remake. It had Typo Negative and TSOL.
Okay.
And it was very prominent.
Bro,
in the film.
Spawn.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. It was Long Road Out of Hell on that. Is that with Sneaker Pimps?
Yeah.
That was all like the electronic mixed with the
Lost Highway.
Lost Highway is great too.
Yeah, that has fucking...
Natural Born Killers. Produced by Trent Reznor, the whole soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's good.
Shit.
Judgment Night.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
I want to do a soundtrack night. I want Sykes into New Violence or Grey Walker to do Judgment Night soundtrack.
So that's another good idea. Is
Half
that
covered soundtrack. Night.
if you do, if you do have bands cover the songs from the soundtrack and play the movie, that's another good idea.
Yeah.
That
Well,
might be a little more feasible.
I think the closest thing that we did, as far as we've only done like one multimedia show, and it was called Hooch Fest, and we just showed Turner and Hooch on the wall
On loop.
on loop. It was shown like 14 times, but the show itself, like there was no.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. We had it at Turner's in McKeesport, and we thought it would be funny to call it Hooch Fest. Turner and Hooch showing the entire time we were there. So that was the only time we've ever done any multimedia. And
That's so fucking dumb. I love it.
I know.
It probably went over 70 people's heads.
Oh yeah, nobody
No
got
one
it.
got it.
They were like, "Why the fuck are you playing this
There's
Tom
even a
Hanks
dog on
movie?"
the flyer.
that's-
Yeah,
So-
Zach from Bottle Rat did our flyer for us, and it's got like Hooch on the fucking flyer.
That's so
But,
fucking funny.
And there was no. It's like Children of October played it. CBJ, which is the ska band from Detroit. For the Wolf, which is a horror punk band from like Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I want to say. But the lineup made zero sense. Cross genres, and it wasn't well attended. But we all had fun. And the touring bands really enjoyed it because we just gave them all the money, because that's what you do when you have touring bands and you have a shit turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be really into Marvel cards. Not so much the comics, but the cards.
Okay.
Oh, Marvel masterpieces were great. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just backtracking to things that we do in our spare time.
Yeah. No.
Really, I just hang out with my kid and my wife.
So yeah, like pop culture and music.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And my kid's really into he watches and makes TikToks. And one day I told him he needed to follow Weird Paul, and he's like, "You act like I don't already follow Weird Paul." I was like, "Okay, so you know." I was like, "I know Weird Paul." I was like, "I've had Weird Paul on shows." He's like, "Yeah, that's cool, but it's not TikTok, so he doesn't give a shit." He likes all the guys from the Jasons. Like, it just kind of blows his mind that because they were featured on a video game, a Friday the 13th video game.
Okay.
And some independent thing. I can't remember what it's called, but he's like, "Hey Dad, check this out." And he like brought it into me and showed me. I was like, "Oh, that's great." I was like, "I know those guys." He's like, "I know you know those guys. That's pretty cool, right?" And then when I introduced him to all those guys, we had a show at Ormsby, and I introduced him to them, and they took pictures with him, and he was just hanging out with them the entire time. And then he wasn't so impressed by me knowing them, because now he knows them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey, he'd met George from the Jasons like a time or two before, but he had never seen him like in his get up and playing, and it's really fun. I think it's really fun when my kid like knows about stuff before I do. He's got his finger on the pulse a little more than I do. Like most people might be like, "Oh, stupid kids and their stupid TikTok and
They're stupid Doctor Who jackets.
who cares?"
Fortnite. What is Fortnite?
Yeah.
Oh, he loves Fortnite, but he gets real bent out of shape because like he'll be, on with his friends, and when they piss him off, we hear it. It's like, "Grrr!" He'll kick something and be like, "Buddy, chill out, or you're not playing anymore." And be like, and you can hear his voice breaking,
Yeah.
But then like 5 seconds later, he's fine, and him and his friends are laughing again. It's kind of like the equivalent, because you can shit talk someone like when they're in the room with you and playing a video game. But it seems like there's a consequence if you get too loud with him, you know? Like if Jared and I are playing a game and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He'd be like, hey, shut the fuck up. Or, you know, and I'd be afraid of him because he'd totally kick my ass. But like my kid just screams all he wants because his friends aren't there to like sock him in the mouth.
Yeah.
And they're probably on their end screaming too. And I get off on tangents. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I feel like you just described the internet in general in 2020.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And he watches a lot of videos where people do that. So I think that's just what he thinks you do. You know, where people just randomly scream, and it totally blows out your speakers on your computer. But some of the stuff he says, like he speaks almost entirely in memes sometimes, and it's while I get it, I'm like, man, you gotta, let's go play like air hockey or something, you know? But then like I play with him on that and he gets the same kind of frustrated. And then I start losing. I'm like, oh, I start getting frustrated, you know? He starts killing me. I get frustrated too.
Like something we've talked about before is it's hard to get younger people to shows. Like a lot of people that come to our shows are
we're 40.
Late 20s,
like we don't know
early,
those people.
mid 30s.
And you have a lot of shows at 21 over places
Right.
too, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people say to like have more underage shows, but we do, and then no young people show up.
Yeah.
So
We end up spending more money to rent a place because it costs more.
Yeah.
So, and then nobody shows up. It's like the one guy who was like, you need to have more. It's like, I get it. You're 19, but like, this is going to cost us like $300 to, you know what I mean? Like, and if you don't come, the one guy who's championing, you know, like underage shows, that's $10 more that we are out, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really we're only doing it for fun. We take it seriously to a point, but we're not making money on this at all. And I think some people think we are, because why would we keep doing it? You know, like, I don't know, man. It's fun. This is my like social interaction with people. This is, you know, and for all the years like growing up that I didn't go to live shows, I didn't even realize that there were that many live local bands, you know, or local shows happening. I was just going to Laga shows. And if there was a local on it, I was like, oh man, they're on this show again. Because it would always seem to be like the same 3 or 4 bands that we'd see. But then, you know, you start learning about 31st Street Pub. So you hit that up and you're like, wow, there are really talented people like here in the city, you know? And I don't know,
And
man, I'm getting off on a
just-
tangent again.
I don't just go to local shows like just to support local music or because I love music. It's because that's where my people are. That's my social scene. Like if it wasn't for the local music scene, I'd be antisocial as fuck. You know, I wouldn't have any friends.
Sure.
To some extent, you are still, even at those shows. Yeah.
I think that there are a lot of people that don't understand that.
How much fun it can be.
Yeah, they I just don't think they understand like the value in this, how social of a thing this is. Like we all come across people like extended family members or strangers that you meet out and about, and like they're always like, oh, so like what's the money like in that? And it's just like, when has like more money ever made you like truly happy in anything?
To like
it's
outsiders,
it's like
that's getting, like the main focus.
It's like you understand that, like, you know, like as corny as this sounds, it's like, you know, like memories are priceless, and like building real social interactions with people, and like building a community is you can't put a dollar amount on that. And
It's like $450. I think it's if each one of my friends could give me like $450, we'd be better friends.
And I think that there's, again, it's like, but that stuff always just comes from people that aren't even a part of the world.
Yeah. I know so many people that are like my age that have never been to a live show, like not even, you know, some Star Lake bullshit.
Yeah.
Star Lake.
I remember him saying at one point, he's like, I can't fathom not being into music. He goes, even if it's shitty music, like I can't imagine not being into it.
Yeah. Like if you're going to tell me you love music, I want to know about it. Like even if it's, you know, country music or, you know, some new dance shit that I have never heard of, like just tell me about it. You know, tell me anything that you're passionate about. Because man, that's the only thing that I like am into is music, you know?
Well, I mean, I guess there are some people that are just into money.
Like that.
And that's their passion.
Yeah, no. I like money too.
Some people, but like I don't think you like money the way some people like money.
No.
Like it's like
I can find happiness
it's like
without it.
It's like you can like money in the sense that like like money's tight because like I can get
It affords me the
I could get
opportunity
a
to do cool
$300
shit.
autograph from Robert England type money.
Nah, I've already got $1 million of his. Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
and like money can buy VHS. And VHS brings happiness, and money kind of can bring happiness into your life.
but
I guess.
for the longest time, you weren't buying VHS. Every time we'd go somewhere, somebody would be like, "Here's a box of VHS for
Yeah.
you," because he was, spouting the joys of
So
VHS.
how many copies of Jurassic Park do you have?
Titanic. I got a lot of Titanic copies.
Okay.
I didn't want any of
And
them.
that's a double too.
They end up with
Yeah,
me,
the Titanic's a double one.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the longest time, I had like 4 copies of the Godfather trilogy,
Never even watched it.
and I never watched those. No, I've seen the movies, but I've never opened those VHS and been like, I'm gonna watch the trilogy today. Nope. I think I gave you those copies, but
And I had to start turning away free VHS because people give me bullshit because they're cleaning their house out, so they give me like a big box
yeah.
of garbage.
It's nothing but
It's like, I
Milo
want
and
some
Otis.
good titles,
Yeah, that's happened to me a bit with VHS tapes. It happened to me a lot with vinyl.
people were just unloading their.
They think you just like anything just because
Oh,
you're into
yeah,
that
yeah,
media,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, here, take all these polka and Rod Stewart records.
Yeah.
It's like, oh fuck, why do you even have these? Where the fuck did these come from?
Who has ever bought these?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so weird.
What was the brass? The Tijuana brass.
Oh, yeah.
Almost anytime
Herb
anyone's-
Alpert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost anytime anyone's giving away, there's at least 2 Herb Alpert vinyl in there. It's just like, man, who bought these? Oh, actually, you know who bought them because they write their name on the sleeves. You know what I mean? Like those
Yeah.
are the ones that people are always giving away. It says like, I don't know, random name written on the sleeve of the vinyl.
Oh man. The next time we put out a record, I'm gonna start asking people what their name is and writing
on it.
the name on it for
Yeah.
them. Here you
Yeah.
go.
So then years later, be like, I sold that vinyl to them as you're looking through somebody's stack that they're giving away.
Oh yeah.
Now, here's a question: with either of your bands, do you do physical flyers? Do you ever hang up physical flyers often?
Sure. I mean, it depends on the show. If we're doing like a headlining gig somewhere, yeah, we'll definitely go out of our way to like make a nice flyer, print them out, take them around. Like when we did the Grey Walker album release, we were very, like hit up all the record stores, do all, the coffee shops, get the different sizes, very, very,
Right.
all over the top. But there's also shows where it's like, if we're, middle support on a show at the Moose, we're not going to print physical flyers. I mean, we'll promote it. We'll still
Right.
get people to come out, but it's like, it's just a different beast of like how much effort we're actually going to like take to the street ourselves. If it's our show, we'll do it.
We've dabbled in physical flyers for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. We've done physical flyers quite a bit. And
You got to have a good poster.
yeah, it seems like when we take the time to get an artist or to make something that's decent, our turnouts are worse. It really is.
I think it's
Like-
because around the Fallout shelter, we don't know where to put the flyers when
Sure.
people
Well,
see them.
I
'Cause
imagine-
there's not a lot of congregation.
I won't
places
do
to
like
hit.
Yeah.
do like a proper print order for
Yeah,
Fallout Shelter. I'll just do it like a Kinko's order because we don't know
Yeah.
what our turnaround is on
It-
them. Like
it-
I can't
it-
put a lot of money into it,
So much of it does depend on your location and things like that. I imagine like doing like flyers for a show like the Fallout Shelter. It's like, I don't know where you're going to hang those up at.
Right.
I don't know. But another reason why I like physical flyers in terms of the city is that people do look at that stuff, and at least there's bands that I know that I only know they're still active because I see their name on
flyers.
flyers. Because I'm not always looking at my phone. But it's like I do still find out about shows because of flyers.
Right.
I may not go to every single one of those shows, but it's still on
How
my
dare you?
radar.
How dare
And I
you not
think
go to
that
every show?
There is I think that there's the side effect of flyering where even if people don't come to the show, they at least say like, oh, like what is Grey Walker?
Right.
What is Someday Nameless? What
Right.
is, Bob's Garage? I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember hiking with a girlfriend years ago on the Panhandle Trail, and there were flyers every so often nailed to trees. But this was like out in the wilderness, and these flyers were for a show going on in Canonsburg with these punk bands. And I was like, who's going to see these fucking flyers? I'm like out in the wilderness, you know? But I went home. I took one of the flyers. I was like, I'm going to see who and they were like really young kids playing like at a VFW. But it was so funny seeing flyers for shows like spread throughout the wilderness. You know? It was cool.
I wonder what the city actually
Like, who's going to see these? You saw them.
Yeah, you saw him.
Yeah.
They're like, some dude's going to be out here with his girlfriend and he's going to be punk rock.
And like on the flyer, it had the band's name and then a short description of their sound. And I remember the one band, it said thrashy punk. And like thrashy was in quotations. It said thrashy punk, you know?
Because one of the guy's moms called them that. My mom says we're thrashy.
punk.
My favorite use of quotations ever, and I think I've talked about this before on the show, so I apologize for repeating a story, but there was a Mexican place downtown. It's no longer there. I don't know what was in there now, but it was on Smithfield Street. And in the sign, in the window, they had a handwritten sign that said "authentic Mexican food," but food
was in quotes?
quotations.
Yeah.
Food was in quotation marks, and I was like, "What?"
It's like of all the words, that's the one you're going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's food, I guess, maybe.
I kind of just want to make T-shirts now that say "authentic Mexican food" on them and nothing else.
That should be a Gray Walker authentic Pittsburgh metal. If that's what you want to call it.
That sounds insulting.
That is so fucking funny. Like one of those like really badass, like kind of metal, kind of hardcore looking shirts. Like the big ass font on the back.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Well, that should be there should be a live photo grayscale because that's what the hardcore should.
Oh, yeah.
And it should have the GWHC hardcore right here and then on the back. And on the back, that should be the quote.
Yeah.
Authentic Pittsburgh metal.
That rules.
I love it. Have you seen the Drake hardcore? Drake made a hardcore t-shirt, or someone made a hardcore t-shirt.
I'm sure that Drake didn't make it, but I know that there's a lot. I know there are several companies that do like I've seen like the heavy metal Celine Dion shirts and
Phil Collins maybe.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of them.
It's some
I haven't
soft
seen
rock.
I haven't seen the Drake one, but yeah.
But it's him on stage with the mic out, just like the old hardcore.
Yeah.
And he's got it out, and it's got his lyrics on it in the big college font. You know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had quite a few of those shirts, like 10-Yard Fight and Ignite t-shirts growing up, and it was always just the same grayscale.
Yeah, it's just funny how like how that stuff works. Like how we're counterculture and we're different, and it's still
And
like
it's
the
all
same
the
copy
same.
paste bullshit. Like no matter what. Like
Yeah.
I think that it's really what's the word that I'm looking for? It's really enlightening, I suppose, to just realize how not special you are as a person and just embrace the mediocrity.
Oh, yeah.
And enjoy yourself on this limited amount of time that you have on this rock.
Yeah.
Don't focus so much on like being, super unique or super cool or super great. You want to be good. Don't be a terrible person, but also like, we're all normal.
I think it's almost better
normal.
to, instead of expect that or know that of yourself, to look at other people and go, and to not expect so much from them.
Oh yeah, that's,
you know what I mean?
That's a really good point.
That's when like, that's where my anxiety comes from. Like, I feel like a lot of people might have expectations of me. And while those might not be my expectations of me, like I still, to a certain point, have to live up to that
Yeah.
Like I can't just like say, fuck you to everyone, like right to their face. Like I have to keep up niceties,
One thing I really like about Derick is you can feel his passion towards local music, his energy, and he's very altruistic, towards bands and helping bands and such, and that's contagious,
And I like Jared because he uses words like altruistic, knowing that I don't even know what the fuck it means. What's it mean?
It means you're very giving, Derick.
Oh, okay. Is that what that Sykes? Is that what that means? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. What I like about Jared is he's my foot in the door for metal. Like I wouldn't know like any of our metal bands.
I thought he was gonna be sarcastic and say something dig-headed. Thank you.
No, but that is
Very
like
nice.
I like you because you help me get where I need to be.
Excellent.
Excellent. Is that metal?
Yeah, that's metal.
All right.
Wild Stallions.
Wild Stallions
Are
is very
metal.
metal, right? So are you excited for the third film?
Yeah.
Sure, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's in my later years of life, I have come to the point of being very not dramatic about anything related to pop culture. I like it.
What do you mean not like it's not your favorite thing?
I'm just not gonna be like,
You're not gonna,
I can't fucking wait for this, and I'm also not gonna be like, they fucking ruined it. You know what I mean? Like I'm in my mid 30s. There's a time where it's like, okay, the new Ninja Turtle movies, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
There were new Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw them both in theaters.
Yeah, they're
so
fine.
If that shows how much I was affected by them, I saw them in theaters.
They're
and didn't
fine.
remember.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, Disney ruined Star Wars. I'm like, Star Wars was never that great to begin with. It's fine. Like,
just because it had a huge fan base,
I like
make
Star
it great.
Wars,
Yeah.
but it's still like it's always been kind of cheesy, and like it's supposed to. It's like back to that sort of.
Can you imagine being on set and having to act and do the things that are on screen? Like, look at any of the Ewok stuff and be like, they're supposed to take this seriously.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know where like this, like, people started taking all of these like escapes from reality, this fantasy, this stuff, and like
more important than,
and just trying to like relate it more to real life, and have all these like political messages or social things, and it's just like, why can't this just be obnoxiously attractive people in space shooting each other for an hour and a half? Why does it have to be anything more than that?
Yeah.
But it's like, I sound like a grump saying everything's ruined, but a lot of people put this like really silly attitude on the things through the internet and just seeing people complain about things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, like, Sabrina sucks. I'm like, it's supposed to.
Right. It had a talking cat that had quips.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen
It's
any of the new one. Is it?
It's good.
Okay.
It's not fucking Schindler's List.
I would hope not.
But it's good. It's not like this huge cinematic revelation.
Right.
And it's high school kids fighting the demons.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Great.
Right. I don't know.
It's fun.
There's only one Sabrina, okay? And it's Clarissa. She also goes by Clarissa.
But yeah, I don't know. I just don't allow myself to get too worked up about things. So back to Bill and Ted, like, I hope it's cool. If it's not, that's fine. The other movies still exist.
Do you remember when Pizza Hut used to do a lot of promotions with films?
Yeah.
Like, my phone's ringing. Can you believe it? Anyway.
That's okay.
No, when you would go and you'd get a box, you'd get like the Addams Family on VHS with it, or Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And
in the Burger King Kids Club?
Yeah, and the Burger King, like stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
Like no fast food places are like geared towards cross promotion anymore. It's always just like, buy what we have, nothing else. Like McDonald's might be the only one still doing like Barbie or Mattel or like Pokemon or things like that.
I think that
I would hope that Bill and Ted 3 would do a cross promotion like they did back in the day with Pizza Hut, and you get cool shit when you go to Pizza Hut from Bill and Ted,
Yeah.
Like, but
I think that there's just too much now that is like in the digital realm. I don't think that people don't care about like physical media in terms of like film, especially.
Right.
Some people still like music, but I mean, there's like,
did you say some people still like music?
Yeah, in terms of like collecting like records or CDs and things like that.
I just thought overall,
like you could still find record stores. You cannot find a fucking video store to save your life. They're so few and far between. I mean, like, I have a fucking whole wall of VHS tapes in my house. Like, I come from that background. Key manager, Blockbuster Video for a real long time. Right here, you're looking at them.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
and there's a big nostalgia aspect to that too.
But I mean, it's like I grew up like my uncle was a huge movie collector and was into movies and music, and I grew up around all of that stuff. So it's like in my blood, that collector mentality. Mm-hmm. But even now, I'm still like I'm a lot more relaxed. Like, it takes me a long time to buy a record now. Where like I used to be like,
You do the pre-orders.
I used to like pre-order the special variant, only 100 made.
Yeah, I had to stop
this
myself
silly
yesterday.
color. I'm just like, I don't care now.
Like I haven't had an actual record player for years, and then somebody puts out something, I'm like, okay, I gotta.
Yeah, I still have like this huge stack of records that I've bought that I haven't even listened
touched,
to.
yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to. It's just that like I'm so fucking busy and all over the place now that I don't have time to interact with it.
Right.
So it's like not that I don't want to buy it, but it's also like kind of a waste for me to buy it if I'm not going to interact it.
It's a waste
like,
of space, and
it's like the equivalent of like going to the grocery store and just buying food you're not going to eat, and then you fucking then it just gets thrown out. It's like, why am I going to buy a record that I can't listen to?
that's how somebody ends up with their third copy of Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, signed by Sykes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I had to stop myself from buying the Suicide Machines pre-order yesterday, just because it's like, you don't even have a record player right now, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, and we have a lot of locals that don't put out CDs anymore. It's either streaming or they do their vinyl, and it's like, well, I want to support. I already own all your T-shirts. I don't need another black T-shirt,
Yeah.
So I guess I'll buy this, and I've got them in a drawer. They haven't hit a turntable at all.
Yeah.
So when I want to listen to it, I pull up the digital and stream it,
Mm-hmm.
So I either need to invest in, a record player or stop investing in their vinyl.
It is strange that cassettes seem to be making a resurgence, even more so than CDs. Like,
I think it's very genre focused. I work in, I work for a record label and a distribution company. So I see a lot every day of like what people are buying. And, the cassettes are up and down. There are people that do collect. I'd say cassettes and CDs are pretty even, at least from like my perspective. But there are people that are buying cassettes, which is super interesting, especially like, at least from where I'm at, there's a lot of people that are like buying old obscure hip hop. There's a lot of like crazy hip hop stuff that was only released on cassette. Like it never got a CD release and it was never pressed on vinyl. So there's like this whole weird world of DIY hip hop that only exists on cassette. And there's like tapes that we found in the warehouse that we ended up selling online for like $75.
Wow.
Because they were like just like super rare. You're like, what the fuck? Like, okay.
and it's weird to me too that like it seems like certain styles of music sound better on cassette. Maybe it's.
I don't think anything sounds better on cassette.
Cassette's a great format.
Yeah.
If you have tape in general, because you can fit so much information on tape. It sounds really, really good if you have
the proper production.
If you have the right equipment, tapes sound fucking great. Honestly, they can sound really, really good for sure. But again, it all just is based around like how was the album recorded, and then how was the music dubbed to the tape, and then like what's your tape player like, what are your heads like, what's your receiver like, what are your speakers like, what are your cables for like, you know what I mean, what are the acoustics in your room. Like you could like really nerd out over like why something sounds the way it sounds.
I just had a Walkman. Maybe that's why. That's why
But even with
it always ate my tapes. Maybe that's why I'm not so big to jump back into cassette tapes.
Even with the Walkman, it's like, okay, is your
kind
battery
of headphones are?
Well, do the batteries actually have enough energy to play it at the proper speed?
Yeah.
And then you have your gears and your mechanics. It's like is there anything with the battery component that's close to the audio components where you're getting some weird interference? And then you have your headphones and the cables, the drivers and the headphones.
Shit, I would never think of when I was like 9.
It's so dumb.
And
it's
actually listening
so
to
dumb.
it. Yeah.
What's the frequency response of your headphones?
Yeah.
Dude, fuck it.
All I know is I was at breakfast one day in school, maybe 4th grade, and I had Too Legit to Quit Hammer album. And I opened it and it shot my tape all over my pancakes. That That's on the real. Like that really happened. I cried. I was so upset. Not so much because I was upset that that my cassette got ruined, but that I knew that my parents would be mad at me about it and they wouldn't buy me another one. And then, my Too Legit to Quit album was just gone.
Fuck.
And I never bought it again either. Like you would think, I'm sure I could find 1 billion cassette copies of it now for hella cheap, but nope.
Anybody that's watching is a Christmas and or birthday gift for your boy over there.
Yeah. You could also get me Diamonds and Pearls by Prince and the New Power Generation. I love that album. That one I just wore out on cassette. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jared in no way like has ever been into hip hop at all. And like I got into hip hop with like gangster rap and like weird stuff like Fushnikins or like DOS effects, like stuff where they were just like making up words and rhyming them with other made up words. When you start out with a bum stickity bum and I'm like, why? What is that? Where does that come from? And sometimes when I talk about like anything remotely hip hop, Jared just looks at me like I have two fucking heads. Like
the extent of my knowledge of hip hop is like I have an NWA greatest hits, and I have like and seeing your band, that's the extent of my knowledge of that. So
yeah, But my I pretty much got 4 sisters at once when I was in. My parents were married. My stepfather came in, and I got 4 sisters at once. Oh. And they grew up around Carnegie, and I was just a hick living out in Burgestown, Bulger area. And they came in and like introduced me to a lot of hip hop. And that was about the time that like Nirvana broke, like 91, 92. So like that was big for me. Nirvana and Queen were like my first, and like Guns N' Roses, like all around that time. Like those were the bands I was really into. Am I boring you?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry. But and they brought in like hip hop and R&B. Like I had never heard Jodeci before, and these guys were just singing about fucking all the time. I was like, what is this? Like these guys must really love these ladies. They just want to get freaky all the time. And but like Shaquille O'Neal did a record with Fushnikins. Do you remember that?
I remember Shaquille O'Neal doing a record, but I'm not familiar with the other artists that you're talking about.
You don't know Fushnikins?
No.
You'd probably be really into him if you're into weird, like probably the most comparable to them would be like DOS Effects or Black Sheep, like or just for me because they were at the same time. And then Cypress Hill, and then into gangster rap. And like I work in a kitchen now, and all the guys in there are like either total metalheads or like totally into hip hop.
It sounds like a kitchen.
It sounds like a kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, can we please just play some fucking Bad Religion? They're like, no. So, and Eazy-E will come on or something, and I'm over there and I'm singing every goddamn word, and they're like, why do you know this? And be like, I just stuck there. I haven't listened to this shit for years, but like I know every word to give me that nut. You know what I mean? Like, why do I know this? But I particularly want to start branching out into hip hop, but I don't know the crowd, like I don't know.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. I don't know how
I don't know the crowd. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. But it's just like, I keep hearing that like underground hip hop in Pittsburgh is amazing right now, but like, I'm not privy to it, like I have no idea.
It is, but you're dealing with a lot of people that like they book their own shows. Right. At their own venues.
They don't need me to hustle for them. They've got it.
Their own little cliques that they have. It's so that's kind of what's going on with the hip hop thing right now.
Yeah.
From my perspective.
Yeah. Because I wanted to book BB Guns, and then pretty much like the next week they were done. Like they were on indefinite hiatus. Yeah. I was like, oh man, I really like you. Like that was the only people that I was like, oh wow, these guys are accessible to me. You know what I mean? But I'm sorry, Jared.
It's all good. We should probably wrap up soon. I got 3 minutes left on the camera at 3% battery.
Oh, good.
So
we ran out the camera. That's good.
Yeah, you definitely did. It's all good.
Sorry.
It's all good. Yeah. No need to apologize.
Yeah.
So before we do wrap things up, can we get a quick shout out on any social media that you have or where people can find some Die Nameless events?
Obviously Facebook is, because we're old men and we only function on Facebook, really. I recently started an Instagram, but Facebook, Someday Nameless, also Pittsburgh Ska. We've got a lot of shows coming up with Pittsburgh Ska being the key component, the key pusher, if you will. And we didn't talk at all about Jared's band.
Yeah,
Jared's
I'm
got a
actually
band
in a
called
band.
Iron Brigade.
Yeah.
I am in an old school melodic heavy metal band called Iron Brigade. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube.
I meant to bring it up. We just didn't really get
For
there.
for fans of Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Man of War. That's
Man of War.
yeah. I put an F in there because that's I don't like shortening if I don't have to. It's the same amount of syllables. Now, Man of War. Jared actually puts on more clothes, much unlike Man of War. He wears
a lot less thigh.
a lot less thigh in Iron Brigade.
I do have nice legs, though.
You do.
Muscular.
He really does. He's very muscular. He'll show you once this is done. He'll show you his
I'll
leg.
show you my calves. Yeah.
I think it seems like something's growing in there.
All right.
All right.
Well, that is all, folks. Thanks so much for being here. Jared, Derick, one more time. Someday Nameless. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I appreciate you being here. I'll be back again in a couple days with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the beat 2020. Woo woo. Thanks for listening. And we are done, my friends. Peace out, everyone.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I can finally eat this fucking
interesting.
Werther's.
That was fun.